Yes, I too always first think of Magic the Gathering when I see MTG, and not sad, weird, transphobic politician. Hello! Hello, everyone. You make coming to work so awesome. Thank you for being here. I want to say hello to uh, Dory Darkling, Roni, Eric, Luxury NB, Michael Anderson Doyle, Jack Coleman, Nakrasissa, Avery, Chase. Hello. Hey, Morningstar. So good to see everyone. Thanks for coming in. Cows do serve a purpose, and they are majestic animals. Alright, I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and bring the chat over here for me to read. Hello. Yeah, Athiet, I like how you just said, and yeah, MTG is my first reading of it too, which I read to understand. I understand what you mean. You're saying, I think of Magic the Gathering first, but it's funny that you just abbreviated it. And I still understood what you meant. Communication is fun. Communication is fun. Yeah. No Wizards of the Coast drama today. I'm doing pretty well today. I'm doing pretty well. Well, I don't know. I had weird like chest pain last night that was really riling me up and getting me anxious, and like it was just, I don't know, like I've been getting heart palpitations, like in the sense that my heart will like feel like it spasms randomly since I quit cigarettes in November. I hadn't been smoking for very long, but I did quit cold turkey, and quitting nicotine can cause you to develop heart palpitations, and it's been really unpleasant and kind of scary, and I have to get... It sounds like a panic attack. Yeah, I've had panic attacks before. This is like, I mean, it could be anxiety related. I thought that earlier. I was like, did I just have like really intense anxiety symptoms, and that's what the pain was, and that's what my heart jumping was? But I can trigger it posturally. Like if I'm leaning over, if I'm like bent over like this, like my head, I'm like bent over trying to like give attention to the cat. I'll have a flutter if I stay there for too long, and it sucks. So I have to probably get fitted with a monitor, like to wear for a couple days to get that looked at. That's going to be expensive. Donations welcome through Streamlabs. We're going to swerve away from using the super chats because I lost like a third of my income from Sunday. Oh, wow. Was not great. I was vaping before. I am also trying to quit vaping though because of the sinus symptoms. Premature ventricular contractions. That could be. In any case, there is a disruption occurring. Acid reflux. I don't know. I don't know. So in any case, like I'm having to work on this with my doctor, and I'm trying to like remain chill about it. So my day to day, to answer the question about my day to day, I texted my doctor a little bit about that, and I tried to make an appointment. The place did not call me back. My doctor doesn't work at the practice anymore. Yeah, I already have real thick mucus, and the vape shit does not make it any easier. Yeah, so, just kind of dealing with that this morning, trying to take it so easy. Yeah, it could be a lot of different things. But what we need is information, right? Like, the first thing that we require is the knowledge. So, I'm gonna fucking have to figure out how expensive that's gonna be. Anyway, I also met my new therapist today. That is a thing that is kind of exciting. My therapist quit, as we previously discussed. My therapist quit her job because of her health. And then I was graduated from DBT, officially graduated from DBT, and put on a wait list to meet with a trauma specialist. And it so happens that this trauma specialist also does prolonged exposure, which is what I was planning to do with my therapist before. So that went well. She seems pretty nice. I think we're going to get along pretty well. I don't really need to have a personal relationship with her, I don't think, in order to work collaboratively on the project of fixing my brain. It's going to be interesting, running through trauma. It's going to be very interesting. If you haven't already, give the stream a like if you would, please, because that will let the YouTube know to show the stream to more people and potentially bring more people in to hang out with us. We're just getting warmed up here. We're just chatting, talking about our lives and stuff for now. We will be getting into the more difficult things later. I feel like I should also just go ahead and say that I am not really here to comment on Ukraine. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. I am not really going to talk about Ukraine and Russia because TBH, those things are kind of beyond my ken. I think it's okay for people to not have an opinion on every single fucking thing that happens, right? Femboy rules. What are you talking about? I don't really feel like I'm qualified to talk about Ukraine and Russia. It's unfortunate. It kind of seems like we're about to head into World War III. Other people are talking about it, and I don't need to. If you wanted to hear about Russia and Ukraine, go to Vosh. He's covering it right now. I'm pretty sure. He's doing all-day coverage. Go hang out with him. No qualms, no hard feelings about it, okay? Yeah, I ended up, this cup of coffee is almost entirely full because I only drank a little bit of it. And then I was like, oh, I need to take it really easy today. I feel like a baby. That's how I'm trying to treat myself today. But then my energy came up when I was talking to the new therapy person. So I'm hoping we'll be able to keep this up. Yeah, the topics are complex. I got nothing, you know? This is Revolution is a great... Oh, hey, Spencer. Good to see you here. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us live. Everybody check your notification settings because that will help you get to see the streams because I'm not on a schedule yet. I think I know for sure that I want to do Sundays early-ish in the day because I know that my British and European fans like to come hang out, and I want to facilitate that, you know? I feel like the hair is a little bit much right now. I think I'm going to put the hair away just because it's... you know, when you get a fresh buzz, I know that I have this weird tuft, I'm growing it out on purpose. Yeah, there's Ukraine talk everywhere. We are taking a break, okay? This space, we're taking a break from Ukraine. When you get your hair buzzed, it's a little Velcro-y. So my long shit is over here. Only saw this stream was starting because I happened to go to YouTube to put something on while I work. Yes, we should definitely check our notification settings for streams channels that we like to watch. Soon there will be a Discord where there will be an announcement beforehand Where here it is. There it is. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of Sokka time. I don't know. I have like a little hair flippy that Sokka doesn't have. My hair is too long, I feel, to be Sokka hair, which is sad. It saddens me. I was putting it up in a ponytail, okay? And then I'm just gonna only pull it halfway through the last time. That's what I do. I'm fucking lazy. Very lazy. And then that's gonna be my hair. That's how it's gonna look. I got the Streamlabs bot working. I did it. I'm so technologically savvy. I liked how beanies kind of stuck to my head like Velcro when I had my head shaved. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. If I look directly at the camera, I can be Sokka. True. With a lot of fuzzies. Every time I go get my haircut at a salon, they cut it like... They curve the lines in a lot. And since my partner did it this time, I was like, okay, I'm going to just hold this and you will fix the line. So that's why the tufts are kind of weird. Oh, you don't bother with notifications. Streams are streams are different. Streams are different. You can watch the video whenever you want to. I guess I'm gonna have like 2 videos to edit out of this. It's wild. I have to say though, everyone, I think it's entirely possible that I won't have to do a job. Like, I mean, this is a job. I might be able to just do this as a job, depending on how the streams keep going. Could be pretty good. Getting added on Discord. Yeah, so I am setting a new Discord up. I have one, but it's been going for a long time, and my streaming and my like video stuff's pretty separate at this point from like the culture of this Discord. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and set up a separate one, more attached to this, and it'll give you an opportunity to opt in to get notifications about when streams are going to be happening, when we're going live, and you'll be able to talk to other people offline. Like, you know, you can talk to each other here in chat while we're online, but not while we're off. Oh, wait, why is this not visible right now? Hold on. Yeah, I took a picture earlier, so I didn't have the background on. Do you like the background to the chat, everyone? You'll be able to see. You'll be able to see. And it works like it works over here too. Look at it. So much fun. I did that between therapy and coming here. Contrast. Yes. Now you can see your messages. Let me know if the Streamlabs is happening too often, because I just kind of made a guess. You know? Yeah, the old Discord is kind of a social grouping that has a loose connection to me and my channel. Yeah, it's not really like for that anymore. So, it will be sad not to have the Weird Cat rank. That's true. So professional. Yeah, I feel like I'm just gradually adding things. It's kind of funny. The VOD channel is separate, right? Which, by the way, if you're not subscribed to the VOD channel, I don't know where I have a link to that actually, but it's called Luxander VODs, and I saw one of my own videos pop up in my home screen basically because it's on a separate channel and it recommends that to me sometimes. And it was from a few weeks ago, like before we had any of this set up, and I was like, wowee. Look how far we've come in the short time. So yeah, things are just gradually building and people seem to enjoy hanging out, and I think it's gonna be good. And even if this doesn't end up like taking off immediately, I can go deliver food or something. That could potentially be a thing I could do. So that's kind of what's going on with me today, generally. You know what I should do before we really get started is I should get myself a little bit of water. So I'm going to get myself a little bit of water, and we will be right back. Are you planning on going full gamer mode with the light and massive chair? Are you referring to the colored lights that you can get? Because one of the links in the description is to the Amazon wish list where I want to get some strip lights, some strip RGBs, and there's also a light fixture above me that I could put some colored lights in, and I was going to maybe get some of those, though. I'll buy them eventually if someone doesn't buy them off the list, but they're there on the list because I would like. I'm not doing string lights. I'm doing RGB strip lights so that there are like boundaries of color. I would like to try to avoid lights that flash on the wrong interval, you know? And as far as chairs go, the gaming chairs... So first of all, this is one of the things that I really need to replace. I'm using a dining table chair. And... So the gaming chairs are actually very uncomfortable. There's this, like, tech channel that my partner follows that did a video where they tested them out, right? And what they determined was that those chairs are horrible, like bad, uncomfortable chairs for having to sit in for a long time. Not that this chair is super comfortable to sit in for an extended period of time, but I do have a chair on the wish list also. Because I really like, because of the fact that I have chronic pain and I do sit for a while for like my job, I need like a chair that's actually quite comfortable, and I also sit cross-legged a lot of the time. I'm sitting way more forward than I normally would because of the microphone situation, but yeah, so things are still gonna continue getting tricked out in the background, you know, like nothing, I don't know, like I need to get a capture card. That's a big thing because, as previously stated, this is a webcam. My real camera is over here. I need a capture card to liaison between the camera and the computer. So that will change the FOV. Like, this area is not really meant to be in camera view. They are really expensive. Yeah, the cats are going to scratch everything that I own. You just have to, like, accept that that's going to occur. It is a pretty nice webcam. It's a really nice webcam, and it's also, like, really old. Like, I mean, I've just had it for, like, 5 or 6 years or something. Dorian says, "Hi, I really appreciated your video on using its pronouns. You've put into words a lot of my own thoughts on gender, and it's really cool to see other people like me out there." I appreciate you, Dorian. It was very recent and very short period of time between desiring to try its pronouns and just, like, deciding to do it. Yeah, I said I was gonna get water. I keep talking. I'm like, I need to get water, and then I just keep talking and talking and talking because that's what I'm good at doing. And then I don't get water, and then I'm even more thirsty, and I'm just gonna have to stop doing that to myself. Okay, now I have water, and I even drank a little bit while I was still at the sink, so well, thank you as well, Avery. A distant executive function rant, yes. I hoped you would appreciate it. Yes. I just get really distracted. I'm really good at doing the Minnesota goodbye, you know? It's just a habit. I did sit in the chair, and I'm sitting on top of my feet. I have bruises on top of my feet from doing this, actually, because it's a wooden chair with a thin cushion. I'm complaining a lot. I feel like I'm complaining a lot. Should stop complaining so much. Because I'm actually in a really good mood. Whenever I'm like ready to stream, I'm like, oh yes, let's do it. Let's hang out. It's such a unique, fun thing for me to get to hang out with a large group of people who just want to hang out with me, you know? It's really hard to feel bad about yourself. Like, it's really difficult to, like, it's just hard to argue at a certain point with the fact that people like you. Like, it's hard to be like, I suck and no one likes me, when there's like 50 people here all like, hey, I want to hang out with you. Yeah, you're fun. Like, all right, cool. So thank you for that. It's really like a lot of people are using its pronouns now, you know? I'm seeing it, I guess, like, this is one instance in which I'm not a hipster. I'm getting in at the same time as everybody else, and I'm just not getting all pretentious about it this time. So it is nice to be liked. It's true. Hello, Asbiel. How's it going? Recognize your name. I'm getting better at recognizing names. My memory in general is getting, I don't know. It's still not great, but it's not horrible. Could be worse. Neurotic anarchy. I wish that its pronouns were not so contentious. I would be interested in further discussion about the dehumanization thing, because I just don't, I don't know. Maybe I am not the person to advocate for its pronouns, because for me it is a lot of vibes. For me, it's mostly vibes, and people are generally going to want to have a theory discussion, you know? Like, I'm not sure, but I'm interested in it. And I would enjoy arguing with someone about it. So, apparently I've just decided that arguing sounds like it could be a fun way to spend my time. Morrigan, thank you for being here. Good to have you here with us live. Been a lurker for a while. That's always good. I don't mind lurkers. I tend to lurk primarily, honestly. Asbiel, you just got a new job. That's amazing. I was just telling chat earlier that depending on how well things continue to go with this, I think I'm very encouraged so far by how things have been going with, like, ad revenue and donos and stuff. So maybe I have a new job now officially. I mean, this has been my job for years and years and years, but I just don't consider it that, because it's not usually my primary thing. I think idiots is a lot more accepted amongst younger trans people. I think so. Long-time transition people do seem to be more hesitant about it. Yeah, usages change over time. We use it for a lot of things. You call a baby it. You say it's a girl when it's born. You know? We use it a lot, actually. I'm feeling pretty pumped because of Texas, so fighting someone sounds pretty good right now. Vic, that's pretty much like what I guess that's part of, like, there's no one actively to argue with, so I'm just arguing against the concepts and stuff. It feels a little bit magical and not othering. Yeah, I agree, Asbiel, sorry. Appreciate the vibe of cis people dehumanize us all the damn time, so we are claiming it now. Yeah. Like, I mean, it doesn't really feel dehumanizing to me. It's as a cat gender vibe. Yeah. Yeah, Dorian, a lot of people do like that specifically. I don't know. I feel like it's cute, you know? Theory can be great, but also has its own problems. Stream of consciousness vibe takes talks are equally as useful because of how clearly you state your ideas, IMO. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I might get into theory, actually. Like, what is the opinion of chat about, like, what if I read theory and then communicated that to you, you know? That could potentially be really useful. I'm not necessarily saying in a video essay format, because it seems like that's a lot of work, being honest. You know, my camera is attached to the desk here, and it's on a thing that only attaches to tables, you know? So I'm a little bit limited in, like, where I can take shots and stuff. Read some anarchist stuff, please. Yeah. Fae Fair for the cat gender. Interesting. I have not heard of Fae Fair for a cat gender. That's cool, though. Yeah, I mean, I think that people struggle with neopronouns in general, Michael. We also use it to refer to the cosmos and great entities. That's true. Eldritch, other gender vibes. True. What kind of theory we'd be talking about? I guess I was thinking, like, gender theory specifically, because that tends to be something that I think about and talk about. Like, it might be, like, because I was specifically talking about, like, I'm not the kind of person who, maybe I shouldn't be the person who argues for its pronouns, because I don't really have a theory basis for justifying it or to argue that it's not somehow inherently dehumanizing or something. So maybe if I read theory about that specifically, I would be more equipped, and then potentially that could bleed into other theories. Like, I don't know, what if I just fucking read Judith Butler and then communicated with you about it? You know, I'm not sure what style that would take either. You could ask questions maybe, or, like, I don't know if we would do it like a couple chapters at a time, have discussions, like do it like a book club style, or if it would be better for you if I did try to make like a concise argument, like describing several different things going on in there or something like that, you know? That was Discord, I think. Just give things a little cursory glance through. Is Luxacosmos? Maybe. Catching up on chat a little bit. It's like just past the point where I can be actively reading it without having to spend a second kind of catching up. And I've noticed that it's like already at the point where, like, I'll miss stuff, and then as I'm watching the VOD later to, like, edit things out, I'll notice things in the chat that I missed, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had seen that and commented on it. But it's, like, just impossible to, at a certain point, do all those things because I'm not capable of multitasking. Yeah, some people appreciate being seen as creatures or other, like, I mean, like I said, part of the reason why I like its pronouns is because I resonate with dragons, which, by the way, we're about to have, like, a dramatic increase in the amount of dragon-related imagery on the channel, I think. I'm pretty sure. Dehumanizing is only bad if it's not desired by the object of the dehumanization. True. It would be fun reading theory like you were reading A Christmas Carol. Thank you for the dono, Alex. That was nice. Dragons. Yeah, MTG is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is a politician. And we're talking about her because she's been historically transphobic. I don't know if you remember, like, oh, this political person put a sign in the hallway that says there's only 2 genders. That was Marjorie Taylor Greene. My partner who uses idiots is an eldritch dragon specifically, also relevant. It sounds pretty cool. Do I have a favorite dragon movie? I've certainly missed a lot of dragon movies. I'm sure that I've missed a lot of them. I really do like How to Train Your Dragon, like the first one. Really good. I've seen the second and the third. I just don't remember them as well because I haven't seen them like more than once. Whoops, sorry, that sounded terrible. Not great. I do prefer Magic the Gathering. Yeah, no, it's all good, Sam. I have like books over here that are trans related. I think they're mostly like autobiographical though, and not theory. I don't think I have theory books yet. Like, I don't know, what should we start with? When you read, if you were to read if you were to read like Judith Butler, for example, would you read her in chronological order? Them? Judith Butler, them? If you were to read Judith Butler, would you read them in chronological order of like when they published their books? I feel like that would be the thing that would make the most sense because their thoughts would evolve on it over time. But I don't know if that necessarily, like, you know, if you shouldn't just start with the flagship. Whatever, like, Gender Trouble, I think, is the one that people always talk about from Judith Butler. This is a somewhat democratic enterprise. I will loop you in sometimes on decision making. More niche theory discussed. Yeah, like, I mean, I see Doe post about theory on Twitter, and I don't understand a lot of it, TBH, which is part of why I'm, like, curious. I'm like, start with the flagship, you think? Read them in reverse for fun. Oh my god. Blasphemy. Okay, start with the flagship and then lead into how they got there and where they went from that point as follow-ups. That's probably like the good way to start off a series. You start off a series. I do, as BL Me Too, I tend to prefer the chronological order. Are you actually prepared to read everything is the main question. Yeah, I mean, maybe in that respect it's good to start with the flagship as well, because then I can be like, okay, I'll start strong with Gender Trouble, and then if I get bored, then I've already covered the most important thing. Some kin-related stuff. And robots, cyborgs, and being neurodivergent is an aspect. Yeah. I don't identify with robots or cyborgs. I see, like, some people I follow on Twitter do the drone thing, and I'm not into it. I'm gonna blow my voice out reading gender bedtime stories. Well, I guess that's the question, too. We don't read it live. I don't think we read it live. I know some people do that. I would absolutely consider reading Stone Butch Blues. Stone Butch Blues is one of the titles that seems, I just think, Judith Butler, Gender Trouble, easy to come to mind. But Stone Butch Blues, I think, is going to contain a lot of really relevant information to me because of I think, doesn't that cover he, him lesbians and stuff? Like, non-binary lesbians and shit? That is really up my alley. Like, super up my alley. What is this? Oh, no, I'm going to have to fix this. I joined a a group chat, which is weird. I don't normally do that, but I don't want to turn it off completely, but I also don't want to get notifications for it, so I just keep snoozing it for 8 hours. Just snooze for 8 hours. Like, okay, I have to put it down. Have Gender Trouble on audio, and I'm still waiting for the attention span to listen to it. This is, okay, listen, everybody. This is an absurd thing that I'm about to tell you. I hated the idea as a child of highlighting in my books. I was like, this is fucking blasphemy. It's not okay. Can't do it. But I'm like, I want to buy these books and highlight in them. Who have I become? What is this? Like, who am I? I used to be like, you have to respect books. I mean, maybe I just became an adult and was like, oh, if you have a copy of a book and you write in it, you know what you can do? Buy another one. Like, just buy another book. It's just it's not like it's fucking 400 years ago where all the books were like handwritten or whatever. Or I mean, even if they weren't handwritten, there was a printing press. I can't remember when that happened historically, but even if there were printing presses, you usually had like a limited number of copies. It's not like that anymore. You can just buy another book if you're so fucking upset about there being highlights. It does provide personality to a book, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I do think robots are a big part of the its pronouns thing. Just not for me. I am just a dragon. I am. I probably shouldn't say during streams that I'm the first dragon type streamer because I really don't want to be that much of a demon mama orbiter. Although I do like her a lot. Um, always wanted to read Stone Butch Blues. As a trans man, I always was very curious. You read Self-Made Men. So here's what I have as far as trans literature. I'm gonna read to you. This is normally we don't talk about the background. Normally, it's for you to talk about and for me to not comment on whatsoever. But in this one instance, I have Detransition Baby. I have a book called Amateur by Thomas Page McBee. And I have Transmission, My Quest to a Beard by Alex Bertie. And I have She's Not There by Jennifer Finney Boylan. Jennifer Boylan. So those are the books that I have. I've only read 1.5 of them, I think. Not all green screen. Oh, I will have to go back over here in the Streamlabs in order to see what you all were saying. A book club for gender theory would be such a great way to fight my ADHD to actually read that stuff. You would think so, but I did try to join a book club. That's why I have Detransition Baby. It didn't work very well, but maybe if we have streams, it'll hold you accountable. You won't be able to watch the streams unless you actually catch up, you know? Athiat has a good point. I tend to jump around between what the author is referencing, like Chris Scott Thompson to Emma Goldman to Kropotkin to Proudhon. Yeah, that's a good point. I hate highlighting. I like my books pristine. I think I want to stop being so uptight. I think that's part of what I want. Yeah, Athiat, I want to read Gender Trouble and Whipping Girl and Stone Butch Blues, but the ADHD keeps saying no. Maybe we should start a book club, you know? If this is something that there's demand for. Absolutely. Does Lumiru talk about gender theory at all? Maybe Lumiru and I could talk about stuff together. Because so far we haven't done any streams together. I think maybe we were on at the same time with the Surfs one time, but that was it. Is there a distinction between identifying with and identifying as? I'm not really familiar with the non-human concept in this context. I would say that there is, because I identify with dragons, and features that you think about dragons having, like an unwillingness to be bound by other people's constraints and, you know, destroying things that make them unhappy, you know, things like that. I identify with those things, but I don't identify as a dragon. Like, I personally, I don't know, actually. That's a really good question. That's actually a really good question. Do I identify as a dragon? I think the only reason I don't is because it would seem like what I mean by that is that I identify, like, I think I am a dragon, which I don't, because I'm not having any difficulties with reality. Anyway, scooching past that, I gotta catch up more on chat because it's the stuff I'm responding to is not on screen, and I'm gonna be confusing myself later when I'm looking at it. Margaret Atwood isn't inherently turfy. I think Margaret Atwood, like, got involved in something she didn't understand and then backed out, but I'm not totally sure. Faith says that they're a mermaid. Good. I saw you breathe some fire on that first chud chatter. True. Yeah, Avery, that's kind of what I was trying to explain. Identifying as something means that you are that thing. Identifying with something is feeling a certain connection with that thing, like, is kind of how I would try to describe it. She's Not There is good, yeah. Yeah, it has to be someone whose opinion you want to hear. That's true, too. Yeah, I guess we can do a little book club. However, we'll decide which one to do first, you know? I love Gargoyles, the series and the creatures. Gargoyles, like, wasn't there a movie about them? You talking about the movie? RGR comes on stream demanding to have a gender debate. I kind of wish, TBH, but I would want to be a little bit more prepared, you know? Because I know that's theory is all she has to talk about. I identify as partially cat. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said at the end, I don't know if I hesitate to say I identify as a dragon just because there is a connotation that makes it seem like I'm unhinged in a way that I don't mean to imply, you know? There was a gargoyle. So I watched the movie, just never the TV show. I thought the TV show came after the movie. I metaphysically am fairy dragon and I like reality. Yes, true. Yeah, Olivia, we're going to get into it here in a bit. I just wanted to have a little bit of chill time together where we, you know, we come together. We don't worry about anything for just a few minutes. Oh, that's interesting, Morningstar Council. We're plural. The Venn diagram between those things is almost a circle. Anything we connect to will be something at least one of us is in most cases. It's interesting. Okay. So I guess, yeah, what we're looking at is a Venn diagram that is almost a circle. Identifying with and identifying as. Just kind of semantic difference, really. Yeah, I understand your point about the connotation because there are a bunch of places where I don't talk about being a cat specifically to avoid giving that impression. But most of the time I'm comfortable saying, I like, not like in public around people, God, on the internet, I'm usually comfortable saying I am a dragon. Like, I don't feel the need to caveat, I feel like a dragon. Like, I usually am just like that's how I feel actually, is like I am a dragon. Like, there is sometimes a sort of dysphoria that goes into like I don't have the claws that I need to rip this building apart brick by brick. I don't know how to describe. It's part of the reason why I vaped for so long too, was that I would just kind of let the vape shit snake out of my nose. It was quite nice. RGR furry take in the infamous debate. Did RGR have a furry take? I don't remember. Yeah, there can be like weird gender euphoria involved with it too. The cat ear headband is a gender-affirming prosthetic. True. No, it's cool, Ryan. We're just chilling in the beginning of the stream. I enjoy the conversation. Maybe this can be a little, like, small clip that goes up or something. But maybe we should just do more gender theory together. We'll just do more gender theory and we can, like, develop our opinions and stuff together over time. Used to do the bowl when you smoke. Which one is the bowl? Oh, the bowl is when you blow a smoke ring and then you go up to it with your nose and so that it goes like this up your nose, right? I had a friend who could do that. I like to do the French inhale, I think is what it's called, where you like let the smoke kind of waft out of your mouth and then like you're simultaneously breathing it out of your mouth and in through your nose. I could show you, but I don't really want to do nicotine to my body today, actually. Yeah, anxiety can definitely mess things up. You could just also, like, I mean, it could be an agender type situation. I don't identify with genders, but I identify with other things, I guess. I feel that I am cat-like, and that seems to somehow tie into my sense of gender. Not sure if that's the same thing. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, honestly. My hair. I wish there was something I could do about this, but it's gonna be like 4 more inches before it reaches the ponytail, so it's just gonna be like that for a little while. Maybe I should wear a hat. This is part of why I guess the flower crown would be good. Speaking of the flower crown, Streamlabs link in the corner in the chat. Seriously, YouTube scabbed like a third of, not scabbed, that's the wrong word. They skimmed like a third off of it. Like I don't know, maybe it was just like, it couldn't have all been the translation of euros to monies, you know? Damn you, Smoke Talk. Bless you, Smoke Talk. I'm interested in the concept of genderless language, yeah. I know people who are cis but Therian who are cats, and then cat is part of my gender, and how we behave is pretty similar even if we conceptualize it as coming from different places. That's interesting. Therianism is supposed to be separate from gender somehow? I don't really know much about it, TBH. Hey, Tima! Yeah, we're doing pretty well. We're just chilling for a little while. It's been almost an hour, so I feel like, you know, I don't want to... How long do I have? Oh, I really only have like 2 hours before I normally start cooking dinner, huh? So, I guess... Hi, who is she? I guess we should go ahead and... Oh, Therian is like the actual word for kinning? Okay. Yeah, what distinction is there between I am a dragonkin versus being a dragon is part of my gender? I don't really... I mean, I don't think there's a distinction for me between those things. Thank you, Ollie. I hope that the last 2 donos that have come through weren't... I hope that your message didn't just get eaten. I hope you specifically didn't. I think YouTube deleted my message because I don't see it on screen. Maybe. I'm not sure. YouTube does that a lot. This is the shit I come for. Yeah, we can just have random conversations about Therianism and gender. Therian is like having an intrinsic part of your identity being part animal, not gender per se, just identity, but it definitely sounds like it's just a fancy word for kin. Yeah. I don't really know that there is a meaningful difference, but I respect that there's a distinction, and that distinction matters to some people. Just like the picture of like a bisexual, pansexual. Like, bi, pan, omni. I'm pulling up a meme for your consideration, okay? Bop, 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 bop. We have to move things around a little bit. We should get ready for stream to start properly anyway. Oh, why is that way over here? Put this over here. I guess that's fine. It's bisexual, omnisexual, pansexual, polysexual flags. These broadly overlap, but the distinction matters to some people, and that's okay. That's how I feel about the, like, are you Therian? Are you otherkin? Is cat part of your gender? Who fucking cares? We vibin'. We vibin'. Who fucking cares? Okay. Is it more like a werewolf deal where they only feel that animal part of the time? Oh, goodness gracious. I think a lot of Therians would consider themselves cis, whereas if it's part of your gender, you are pretty much non-binary whether you say it or not. True. True. Okay, are we about ready to get really upset? which would do we want to start with? Can we do polls spontaneously? I guess we'll just have to vote with numbers. Do we want to start with? So here's the thing. Broadly, here are the things that we have to go. Here's the things that we have to look at. Marjorie Taylor Greene said that we basically, like, we should assault trans people who are visibly trans in public because they're grooming children. Okay, we're gonna try to look into that at least a little bit. All right. And then I presume that most people know already about the Texas thing where they are making it basically illegal to be a transgender child, right? These are the two things that we have on the list for today. These are the two things that we have on the docket. Do we want to vote? Because it's going to be shit either way we do it. I don't know which one's going to be faster to get through. Oh, you hadn't heard that one, Morrigan. Yeah. We're going to probably, like, try to read any information about it as possible. I think what's happened is that it's just a, like, suggestion from the governor to the courts or whatever about how to enforce a thing that already exists on the books. They're just expanding the definition of child abuse to include giving children any kind of transition-related health care. So, and then we're, like, I think this is a video of Marjorie Taylor Greene saying this on Alex Jones' show. So, you've been doing in college? Yeah. I mean, I don't think that most people are, like, talking about these things either, which is really unfortunate. I just think that people are not, like, the cis media. They just don't cover these things. Quite possibly, Tima. I don't know that that's explicitly part of it, but it could be. And I think, like, you know, if you were to travel out of state even to receive that health care, I think that it would still be illegal. And they're talking about taking people's kids away. Like, they're talking about taking people's kids away, which is awful because I know a trans couple in fucking Texas that have a trans kid. Actually, I think both of their kids. So it's a family of 4, and I think all of them are trans or non-binary of some kind. And, like, it's just terrifying. Like, I see pictures of their kids, and, like, the idea of them being taken away is really awful. Especially because the parents understand what the kids are going through, you know? The ACLU have said it's not legally binding because it's just a direction. Yeah. So, I guess I'll start pulling up stuff about these things so that we're ready when we get into it. So, ACLU, Texas tweet. Maybe we'll just go to Twitter. Nope, not Twitch, Twitter. Yeah, it's mandatory reporters, like teachers reporting seeing trans kids to Child Protective Services. Yeah, which is really fucked up. ACLU. Or is it going to be ACLU Texas specifically? They've got a lot of stuff going on. Let's look at ACLU of Texas specifically. When I say let's, I mean me. Oh, we'll pull that up when we get there. So yeah, we're going to be looking into these things a little bit. What do we want to do first? Do we want to see what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say? Because I get, maybe that one will go faster. The royal we. It is the bad place. It is the bad place. We're about to have fucking World War III, and we dropped, like, the United States government dropped bombs on Somalia, I think. While everyone was focused on this Russia-Ukraine situation. I think you can post links in the chat, Athiet. If not, do you want to be a mod? Because I can make that happen. I mean, you're already a mod in the Discord. I guess I just don't want to inundate you with responsibilities. Texas one will be more upsetting, yeah. So maybe we can continue kind of ramping up. Actually, I think I should wrench you, Athiet, if for no other reason than there is not a mod here right now. So I'm just gonna wrench you. I'm not asking you to do anything. Oh, are you not a mod in the Discord? I thought you were. Well, you're a mod here now. Yeah, you've been around for a really long time. Mostly, like, if you see a message get held automatically, like, feel free to click the button that says, okay. Like, I'm not asking you to do anything, I guess. I'm just not going to revoke the wrench now that I've done it. Yeah. Some people use the wrench also to indicate, like, friends. Like, when Jess and Xena came in here on Sunday, I went ahead and gave them a wrench just because they're friends. So, you've been around for long enough. Emma, do you want a wrench? I know you have experience being a mod, don't you? Or were you not a mod in the former? There kind of isn't a Discord currently. I have been saying your name out loud for a really long time. Friendship wrenches. But yeah, Emma, for some reason I thought, were you a mod before in the RGR community, or were you just... Oh, okay. Do you want to be a wrench? You can. I should probably try to expand the number of mods that I have. I think I'm about ready to get started. Hey, you know, that works. I appreciate it. Oh, no, I can't do it here. I have to do it over here. Bing, bing. Bing, bong. There we go. I'll be streaming early enough on Sundays. Do you want to be a wrench? Yeah, true. Okay. Well, Internet, my name's Luxander, and today we're going to be talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene and some of the things that she has been saying about trans people. She is a representative of I'm not sure where, and she went on Alex Jones' show to say some bullshit about trans people. And I saw this pop up on Twitter. I wanted to go ahead and talk about it. We're here with chat to have some live reaction stuff to what's going on here. So I just pulled up a result that I found about it. Let's go ahead and switch so that we can see this. So what we're looking at right here is article. Chat's going to cover up just slightly, but that's okay. I think we're going to be all right. Should I scooch it over? I don't want to scooch it over. So MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, went on Alex Jones' show. I found this article at MediaMatters.org to read about it a little bit, and I think it might have the video on it, so we can watch the video and see what... She's a representative from Georgia. Okay, well, that's not incredibly surprising, I suppose. We have her saying, in this opening here, it says, In an appearance with far-right radio host and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, sitting Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia, okay, it says it right there, she's a Republican from Georgia, called for vigilante violence against trans people in public, claiming that it is necessary to stop the, quote, grooming of children and blaming mothers for turning their kids trans. So yeah, this is generally the vibe that we're coming at this with, I guess. MTG, thanks. So, I guess, now I didn't make sure that the audio was all balanced. We're going to have to make sure that the audio is at least a little bit balanced, okay? We're going to take this down a little bit. I haven't watched this yet. This is 10 minutes. There is at least a partial transcription here. Yeah, I guess this is like highlights or whatever. I hope that I don't get zucked for showing InfoWars. Are you allowed to show InfoWars on YouTube, actually? Because Alex Jones is banned. Does this work like Twitch, where you can't even show or, like, talk about someone? Because if so, we might have to skip the video part and just read the quotes out of context. I have no idea. Hearing everything about how anal retentive Twitch is has made me so nervous. Even though I'm not streaming to Twitch, I'm fucking streaming to YouTube, where it's the fucking Wild West and you can do whatever you want for the most part. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna react just to the actual video, presuming that it's not gonna fuck shit up. That is specific to Twitch. Okay. That's kind of what I thought. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's, is this full screen? This is full screen. Let's see what she has to say. We're gonna have to adjust the volume, probably.
Absolutely. We have to get them out of their position.
MTG in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
I have to get my earbud. And this is also not balanced. It needs to be a little bit louder. Oh my god, why? Okay. I was not gonna let that play. Jesus. Okay. H-Bomb's vaccines video that has a lot of InfoWars content on it. That's true. I don't know if that video is still monetized, and that's kind of the question that I'm running into, too. Yeah. All right.
I really like Jim Jordan. I really like Matt Gaetz. I really like so many great people. But I got to tell you, MTG, every time I see you on TV, there's no telling what you're going to be saying, but it's always true. And you're so popular because people can see you're unscripted, but you're really smart and you're real. And that's scaring the power structure.
Well, thank you, Alex. I hope so, because I'm tired of the power structure. They've sold out our country and they're selling out our kids.
And that's where you wanted to go next. And I happen to have a giant stack of news. So let me just read a few headlines, because you can't make this up. This is from KTLA.
I've never watched Alex Jones before. I've never sat down and watched Alex Jones before. I have only ever watched meme videos making fun of him. I just needed to, just needed to process that for a second. Oh my god, the space lasers thing. Yeah, okay. Oh, Tima, you're gonna have to be gone for a long time if you're trying to avoid... I know that you're gone now, probably, but you're gonna have to be gone for, like, the rest of the stream if you want to avoid overt trans hatred. Alright, let's keep going here.
Okay, that's one of the biggest stations in the country. Get ready for this. Outraged parents demand answers after non-binary male counselors were allowed to sleep in fifth-grade girls' cabins at school-sponsored camp event. There's video of biological men sleeping with the fifth-grade girls. It gets worse. Facebook LGBT...
Well, that makes it sound way creepier than it probably was. Yeah, Alex Jones was... I think he was deplatformed off of YouTube.
Activists caught in alleged child sexting operation, flying to Indiana, number 4 at Facebook to have sex with a 13-year-old. This one, trans swimmers face off in Ivy League. We told you, it'll all be men in women's sports.
At that event, there was a trans man participating versus the men, I believe, and a trans woman participating versus the women, and they both fucking crushed it.
Trans swimmers face off in Ivy League meet, and the results upend transphobic arguments against their participation. Yahoo thinks it's great because both men competed against each other. What does that even
Dipshit.
mean? Transgender Ivy League swimmers face off, and it goes on from there.
I don't think they played versus each other. I thought that they swam on different teams because one of them was on the male team and one of them was on the female team. YouTube pausing comments for moderation because they are expressing proportional disdain for Alex Jones. True. He cannot pronounce non-binary correctly.
Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't hate somebody if they want to be a woman. They think they are. But I love even how Fox News says 2 women competed. Like 2 women in a federal prison had a baby, or 2 women in a state prison had a baby. No, a man saying they're a woman did it. This is incredible.
Okay, rude.
Gaslighting going on.
Gaslighting? Oh my god. All right.
And MTG is here to give her take on this. So much to deal with there.
Oh, I think it's straight evil. First off, if I was a parent and my 5th grade daughter had to sleep and shower in some kind of cabin.
Okay, let's move the goalposts. We're moving the goalposts. Okay? I'm assuming like that the counselors slept in a different room anyway. When I attended summer camp, when I was a young warthog, I did not sleep in the same room as the counselors, even though it was like same-sex counselors at that time. Oh, I see. The trans guy decided not to take hormones and wanted to finish his swimming semester with the girls' team. I see. If I was a parent and my 5th grade daughter was in that prison.
At some summer camp that I paid money to send my child to, and there was a man calling himself a woman sleeping in her cabin.
Can't even get it right. Fucking goddamn it.
Showering with her. That guy.
Again, we're just like, where did showering come from? Where the fuck did that come from? We're just making bullshit up. This is what they're good at. They're really great at just saying shit that's really inflammatory without evidencing their claims. This is what they're good at.
He'd be in jail. He would be in jail. Well, first off, my husband would have beat him into the ground, and then he'd be in jail. But this is exactly how we need to stand up.
So I think that this is kind of what we were talking about. Like this was this clip, the like quote that was really kind of catching my attention. And that is like, it specifically says in this stupid fucking hypothetical, if a male counselor like I'm just like, how is Marjorie Taylor Greene saying this? Like, she's saying if a male counselor who says that they're a woman were to shower with my daughter, then my husband would have beat him up and we'd be in jail. That's, I guess, what she was trying to say. Not generally that being trans is something that you should be beaten up for in public, although we'll see where this goes.
Up against this stuff. And then the men, this guy, Leah Thompson, I'm sorry, that's William, and he's not a she, he's a he. He should not be competing in women's swimming. Anytime he wins.
I'm going to bleep that out when I edit this.
He did not win. Whoever came in second place, the real girl in the race, she's the winner. He should be thrown out of swimming completely.
Was it, which one won? Or did one of them, I thought one of them maybe like really, really dominated.
All of the men, I do not care about. It shouldn't matter about what they do in their bedroom. If they want to wear a dress, fine. But what they're doing is
what they want to do in their bedroom, wear a dress, like, they just have no ability to conceptualize this as being beyond something sexual. Like, they cannot, I I really wonder if cis people are okay. Does she only wear a dress for sexual gratification? Like, does she go outside wearing a dress specifically for autogynephilic purposes? I think actually aren't cis women way more autogynephilic if you study them than trans women are? Yeah, I guess the trans guy is the one who won the race. So she's rude on all counts.
Or defeating women. It's about beating women down, and the left stands up for it. And this is where America needs to say enough. Most Americans agree that this is wrong, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know why Fox News or anyone else goes along with the whole pronouns, the he's and the she's and the she's and whatever. These are men. We need to call them what they are. They're men. That makes them a he, a him, and not play this pronoun game anymore.
And let's expand on that. Dave Chappelle is no conservative.
Oh, God.
He came out and said, listen, women need their own space, just like everybody else does. I have 3 daughters, but even if you don't have daughters, can you imagine what it's like to have full-grown men around the country showering with your daughters?
Can you imagine a woman having to step into a men's locker room and expose her breasts as she gets changed? Imagine the kind of violence that would expose her to. But that is an acceptable way to treat a woman if she happened to have been born with a penis. What the fuck is wrong with these people? I mean, we're just not human to them, ultimately, is what it comes down to. It's not complicated. Like, really, it's just truly not complicated. They do not think we are human. They don't think that we're deserving of, like, any kind of rights or respect or anything. Okay? It's easier to understand where they're coming from when you just accept that fact.
Because they say they are biologically a woman. This isn't just other male students that claim they're female. This is adults. And this is causing people just to totally freak out.
Really? I don't think anybody, like, any trans people here, do any of you, have you ever claimed to be biologically, like, if you were assigned male, have you claimed to be biologically female? You might call yourself female, as in, like, in the way that it's almost used, like, colloquially, the same way that you would use the word woman, but I think, like, I mean, you know, this is like a cat black kind of thing, argument, you know, like trans people are acutely aware of their biology. That's why we transition and go on hormones and get surgeries. We know, I think for the most part, like, we want to be socially treated as our target gender, and that includes, like, social spaces. Like, people just are saying they're biologically segregated when that's not actually in practice how things have been going for ever. Ever.
And like you said, they're stealing women's spaces, and children are being taught with drag queen story time that a big fat man in a clown outfit is a woman. I'm sorry.
I don't think that that's actually the case either. I mean, like, we in the community draw a distinction sometimes between drag queens and trans women. Some drag queens are trans women. That's not necessarily the case. Actually, I do say I'm biologically female because my body responded to hormones in a way that said it needed it, but I also say I don't mean it in the way people who say, quote, biological woman mean. Yeah. I mean, like, our biology is on a gradient, you know, and, like, hormones are a very dominant feature. Like, hormones wreck your whole body, okay? Ask anyone who has ever menstruated in their life what it's like to go from, like, a high amount of estrogen to a low amount of estrogen within the space of, like, 2 weeks, you know? It's really disruptive, actually. Can be very disruptive, actually. And I can understand people's feeling after a certain period of time like the primary biological trait that I have is no longer the one that I was assigned or whatever. So maybe I came out a little bit too strong on that. I don't really have I don't have anything that I would call myself biologically. I'm not biologically male or female. which is weird thing to, I don't think I've really thought about that before. I can't remember really thinking about that before. I have wondered in the past, do trans people sort of render ourselves intersex? But I don't want to step on the toes of people who were born intersex. Because I don't know if that necessarily, like, if intersex is a term that should only be applied to that group. Or if calling trans people intersex would be perhaps like an incorrect, invalidating way to describe the transgender experience as well. I'm not sure. I'm always evolving my thoughts on that. We can talk about it further at another time if you're interested.
Sorry, that's not a woman. That's a big fat man or a little boy dressed up like a girl. This is all very, very sexualization of children. In fact, I can't show this video in Austin. Part of what we have, they had men on stage with little kids giving them money who had no G-strings on, saying they were women with glitter on their genitals and hugging little kids naked.
What are you talking about? Like, you're literally, the video is playing. What are you talking about? Naked with their genitals all glittered out? What the fuck are you talking about, man? Jesus.
Men, this is 4 years ago in Austin, naked men literally grabbing children.
No, that's how did we get here, Alex? I can't even understand that. That should never, ever happen, ever. This is so evil. I can't.
No one grabbed children. What are you talking about? They look clothed to me. Yeah, Roni. What the I mean, you just... They literally have to just make shit up about us in order to make us seem scary, because we're like one of the least threatening groups, actually. I would be really curious to see what the ratio is of... Well, I couldn't even trust that statistic. I was going to say the ratio of, like, convictions between... Or, like, what's the difference between the perpetration of crimes, like, violent crimes by trans people versus the violent crimes done to them. And the thing is that even, like, the rates of, quote, violent crimes perpetrated by trans people are going to be inflated because, like... If a trans woman is changing in a women's changing room and someone happens to call bullshit about it, like happens to, enforce fascistic laws to target her for sexually exposing herself in public, like, you can become a sex offender like that. Like, it's a real danger. So I couldn't even trust statistics that say, this number of trans women have been convicted of sexual crimes, because you're probably, like, lying about some of them, They are obsessed with genitals. You always, always tip your drag queens, true. And you're welcome to tip your streamers as well, using the Streamlabs link in the description, if you'd like to. Where I set the bar too high, maybe we will not get to do the flower crown this stream. That's okay. I'm not expecting to get a whole bunch of $50 donations every stream. That would be crazy. I mean, it would be really nice, but it would also be crazy. And also make sure you like the stream. I can't see the like count right now because I'm looking at Streamlabs and not YouTube backend, but if you haven't liked the stream, please like the stream. Maybe more people will show up. There's fewer people than I was expecting, but plenty of people to keep everything lively, so thank you all for being here. The higher rates of sex work among trans communities and the over-policing of those people, like, those stats will be inflated by the criminalization of sex work. True. Inquisitors saw witches everywhere. They see sex offenders everywhere. True.
Can't even believe these videos. No, but here's what we have to do. We have to draw the line in the sand and say we are not willing to cross it. This is such perversion, but it's also grooming children. It's grooming them to believe things that are lies and that are completely wrong. No, children are not born a certain way thinking they're another gender. It's their parents that are training them that way.
Yeah, only we're allowed to brainwash and indoctrinate our children into being a certain gender or having a certain sexual orientation, to the point where sometimes we'll send them to be given electroshock therapy to turn them into what we want them to do. Like, it's so wild. We don't want you know, it's not original to me. Like, we don't want your kids, your cis kids, to turn trans. We want your trans kids to survive, you know?
It's these mothers that think it's like a handbag. They need to have a boy, a girl, and a trans child, like as if there's some kind of accessory.
A status, if it's.
I mean, I do remember someone saying, like, oh, I'm non-binary, and my mom said, like, ha, jokingly, like, I've got all three. Starsona, thank you for the $40. Have a good stream. Thank you. I appreciate you. I gotta make it so that they show up in the chat, too. I still have some things that need to be worked on. Let me make a note of that, actually. Donos in chat. Okay? Because right now they're just going to show up on the screen, and I'll definitely have to stop what I'm doing to pay attention to it. I won't be able to read it after the fact. If I was in the middle of saying something about this, I forgot what it was. But yeah, thank you, Starsona. I so appreciate that.
Exactly. It's like Hollywood stars and all the things they've engaged in. Exactly. Look at this photo of the progressive leftist not wearing their mask, but showing how the kids all wear masks. It's literally a rite of passage that they have destroyed a child. They've enslaved them in their MK Ultra operation.
What the fuck are you talking about?
And then, yeah, they don't have masks on, and the kids have to be masked. And it's just, it's completely wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
I mean, I do think that this is kind of stupid. Like, I mean, the adults are taller. They're breathing out onto the children in this moment, you know? I agree with this criticism. Like, it's not right that you should make, you know, I was talking to someone on Twitter about this recently. You shouldn't make kids playing soccer outside in the heat of summer wear a mask, but at the same time, like, sporting events are happening and you're not requiring masks for, you know, players in the dugout or whatever, for example. It's just an inconsistency that I understand. You know, you're asking more restraint from these children than you're asking of the adults in the room. Excuse me, I need to drink some water.
And I don't think it's a bad thing. Here's what we have to do. We have to speak out. I don't think it's wrong to stand up and say, we aren't going to tolerate this. Men, get out of our bathroom, get out of our sports. These are our private places. And
think about how it's done in the name of helping women.
That was the loosest. Okay, never mind.
Oh, we're going to it's like that huge 300-pound dude going, it's ma'am, while he smashes the store because the guy's like, hey, dude, come on up.
She did not weigh 400 pounds. I don't know how you could think that that woman weighed 400 pounds. Also, she was having a really bad day, and she's really embarrassed about it. So can we shut the fuck up about it at this point? Jesus Christ.
It's like a huge dude with pink hair. Hey, bro, come on up. Oh, it's a ma'am. It's a ma'am.
But at the same time, like, if you see someone who's, like, clearly wearing a push-up bra, and they have longish hair, and they're wearing makeup, and you call them sir, like, you're being... Can I say cunt? Maybe I can't. You're being a douchebag.
It's an excuse to mess with people, weird psycho dudes.
Yeah, no, it's really disturbing. But here's what bothers me the most is so many good men are silent with it.
Oh, here we go.
Won't say anything, Alex. Like, they don't stand up and protect us. We want men real men to stand up and say, we're not going to allow you in our daughters' bathrooms. We aren't going to allow you in our girls' cabins at camp. We aren't going to allow you to beat down our women and our daughters. But we need...
What are you talking about, beat down? What the fuck are you saying? Well, the thing, Morningstar, is that I might be able to say it and not get TOS'd, but I might not be able to say it and be monetized. And I don't know how much Demon Mama makes off of her, like, clips and prepared content. Like, Mama makes, I think, the majority of her money, I would bet, off of stream donations. And I don't know if that's the case for me yet. So I do care about preserving, like, I won't, like, you know, as much as it would be fun to reclaim streams and stuff, like, I don't think I can do that and like still maintain monetization. But I mean, once I set up the site separately, maybe it will just not matter as much. But you know, oh yeah, she's saying beat down with regard to sports. Like, for the most part, it's like, for the most part, trans women aren't like winning in these competitions. They aren't winning So if they're participating, like, it's not taking anything away from women except a slot on the team, maybe, if you want to claim that. But they're not, like, taking wins. The trans man won. Like, someone who Marjorie Taylor Greene would consider biologically female won. And the trans woman was second.
Like in the UFC or other, not the UFC so much, but other MMA fighting, they let biological men literally kill women in some cases.
What the fuck are you talking about? I wish that they would evidence their claims. Oh my god, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what they would love to do. They would like it. It's like they want it to happen, and I can't comprehend it. I don't understand it.
I wonder how pro-cop Marjorie Taylor Greene is. She's so concerned about trans women beating up cis women in MMA fights. How pro-cop do you think she is?
I mean, look at this dude. He looks like Frankenstein. Oh, the top weightlifter
really
is
mean.
a man in the women's sports. The top body.
Hey, you know what? It's really rude, but it's also completely within the purview to attack a woman for the way that she looks. So, thank you, Alex Jones. You've secretly affirmed this woman's gender by talking shit about how she looks, you fucking asshole.
Builder in women's sports is a man. The top swimmers, the top three are all men. They're all men. They're all men. They're men. And we sit here and let these...
How many more names do you got? Say the names. Say their names. Say the names of all the winners.
leftist, weirdo, sicko groups send a man in to women's sports to unseat them. That is just sick.
It is sick, and then they praise him. And I'll tell you, I've been an athlete most of my life. I've competed. I've been in plenty of races. I've competed in CrossFit. My daughter's a D1 athlete in college. This is such a joke. Actually watching this guy.
She's impressive. Oh, is this she didn't complete her lift? Are we about to watch her not complete her lift? Oh, she's in the squat position. She's supposed to stand up now, I think.
Guy right here.
Oh, no,
go out there and compete against women, beating women, and then look, yes, celebrating. Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. And then people allow that to happen.
She celebrated completing the lift in that moment. Like, it was probably really hard. If you're trans, you can't succeed, is the rules, really.
I mean,
it's
what
a fat
mockery.
slob that beats up on...
Oh, so affirming. Yeah, attack her fucking appearance, Alex Jones. Do it. She's a woman. That's exactly what you should be doing.
Girls.
Yeah, that's right. A fat slob that beats up on girls.
Oh my God.
And we sit there and tolerate it. And then we...
Hey, we here don't just sit there and tolerate it. We sit here and celebrate it. You know what? She looked like she really had a difficult time doing that thing, and then she fucking did it. And if she did win, she would have earned it, and we respect. I don't like sports at all, but I respect.
Sit there and say, oh, we have to be nice. We don't want to hurt his feelings, and call him a woman and allow him to do that.
And look, he's got his ding-a-ling bouncing around his pants. I'm sorry, but he didn't even have the nerve to cut it off.
Yeah, well, they can't. If they're going to go all the way, they should go all the way.
And I'm not attacking.
Hello.
These people. Yeah, I'm not even against him. He's obviously completely mentally ill. Because who's going to go out and compete?
I'm against him.
I'm saying I don't hate him personally.
I don't hate him personally.
I hate what he's doing.
Yes, I'm completely against.
Stay right there. MTG is in the house.
Okay, I think that was it. So it wasn't quite as, like, directly offensive as, I mean, I think that she was careful, I think, to not word it in such a way that it could be directly perceived as a threat. So she specifically says, if this person were in there doing this, then violent retaliation. But, of course, that's just like a cute way to sidestep. Cute way to sidestep. I love how everyone in chat is just agreed that she doesn't get to have a name. She's just Magic the Gathering. So I think it's fair to say that this was an attempt to like say thing without saying thing. Get out of our sports. These are our private places. Very cringe. Stochastic terrorism fodder. True. MTG and Alex Jones, a match made in hell. Match made in heaven. Yeah, I don't have that much hatred inside me. Cedar donated $5. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, the sexualization is super weird. Like, I don't really engage with, like, right-wingers talking about trans people very often, so it's kind of shocking to me, like, the degree to which it is just... Whoop, let's switch. The degree to which it's just, like, overt sexualization. Very, very strange. Oh, Michelle Winter. You Patreon people and your donos. Thank you. Oh, we're back to commenting on highlighting books? Hell yes. Miss Transphobic Ghoul. That's so true. Yeah, I was distracted, but, like, Alex Jones saying, like, oh, her junk is flopping around. She doesn't have the chutzpah to cut it off. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Turns into talking about bodies and genitals, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're good, Bella. Alex seems to just be all about the ding-a-ling. It's true. I feel like there's probably a lot more autoandrophilia in the world than people let on. I don't believe kids should transition. People will have different opinions, though. Ari, can you describe what you mean when you say transition in reference to children? Because typically the things that you allow children to do initially are like get a different haircut, try different clothes, maybe at home try different clothes, maybe try out different pronouns and a name. We generally start at home with those kind of things. Yeah, transition is a broad term, so it's important to me to make sure that we're using the term the same way if we're going to have a conversation about it, which I'm open to do. Absolutely. Well, stop looking at him. Usually the biggest attackers on trans people or any group of people have like a fetish for them. True. Yeah, kids. So, and also like, what do we mean by kids? I don't think kids should transition. There's two words there that we really need to be quite stringently on the same page about if we're going to have a discussion. By kids, you know, what age range? Are we saying kids, anyone who is a minor? Because if we're talking anyone who is a minor, then we're talking about a very broad age range that could include a number of different aspects. You know, we're talking about a span of time which includes going through multiple years of puberty between, you know, like starting around whatever, like 13 or whatever, up to age like 17. Those are like really intense puberty years. So we're also discussing what is appropriate treatment for a transgender teenager, you know? It does help a lot when your parents allow you to just figure it out as a kid. Let you just live the way that you want to do as a kid. Yeah, I've seen people simply define transitioning as bottom surgery, specifically in relation to children. Yeah, that's not really what's happening. What children do, like if you're starting from like a really young age, is changing the way that they dress, changing their haircut, stuff like that. When they get to somewhere around, I don't know, 10 to 12, kind of depending on whether they have precocious puberty, I guess, they would go on blockers, which just buy extra time, prevents unwanted changes, gives extra years to figure it out, you know? So I personally think it's appropriate for trans teens to go through puberty at the same time as their peers, you know? I think it's appropriate to, at maybe like age 13 or 14, maybe start on like the relatively low dose of the hormone. Because even initially, on a low dose of either estrogen or T, that's going to produce relatively small changes, and you can very quickly you'll know real fast whether it's good for you or not. Like, you'll know very quickly whether you are wanting this or no, because it changes the way you feel. It changes your emotions, changes things about how your body works, you know? So, and then I have also been aware sometimes of age range 16 to 18-year-olds having top surgery. What we're discussing in that instance is people who have been affected somewhat by puberty, who then go on to have surgically the tissue removed at a fairly early age. Like, maybe they didn't come out until they were 14 or 15. Their parent, you know, doesn't want to do anything immediate. Maybe they don't have access to blockers or information about blockers, and then they need to have top surgery. It's good to have top surgery while the tissue is still small, like while there's not very much tissue there. The types of surgery that you have available to you, your results, stuff like that, like, it generally is preferable to people to get whatever I was trying to say just then. Kat Black has said she doesn't believe we should pursue genital preference discourse because there are so many transphobes who sleep with trans people. Yeah. Kind of, I don't know if it really matters, too. Although I do have strong opinions about the the genital preference discussion. Yeah, they can go through puberty if they stop the blockers. Like, they can go through natal puberty. It's totally fine. I do think Alex Jones had some trans porn on his computer one time with that weird, like, above cam or whatever. Yeah, it can change the way you think. If you've been transitioning since you were under 10, then you most likely had access to hormone blockers. But I'm saying, like, if you like came out when you were like maybe between 13 and 15, and your parents like maybe were not initially on board, they were hesitant, and like you got them on board after you were persistent about it for 3 years, but you were distressingly developing breasts during that time and you really knew that you didn't want to have them, with stringent enough healthcare, you know, like, there is mental health care that goes into this. The even the oh shoot, I'm starting to get really off base here. There are mental health professionals that are involved in the process, right? They will vet, and there are insurance requirements too. Like, you can't necessarily, like, insurance or even the surgeons themselves might require like a letter from a PhD psychologist or something to insure, and their requirements are generally more stringent for minors. So if a minor, like age 16 or 17, has gotten their parents, the doctor, the insurance company, the surgeon on board, by the doctor, I meant like the psychologist, all on board, I don't see why they shouldn't have top surgery if they have a greater like the greater likelihood for better results from the surgery. Like, here's the thing, guys. Top surgery, you know, we classically see these like scars that go on under the pectoral muscle, right? These like long scars that go across the chest. And usually there's a graft of the nipple. So the nerve stalk is severed, the nipple is removed, and then it is pasted back on as a skin graft. This reduces sensation dramatically. The visible scarring is unwanted for many people. There is no further like nerve response to cold usually. So if you are younger, like if your chest is still really small, you can get surgery that just like basically, I think what they usually do is they make small incisions around the nipple and then remove the tissue that way. And then the only scars you have are right around the nipple, right? It preserves sensation, preserves function, much less scarring. A lot of people really prefer these results, and you literally cannot get that type of surgery if you have a chest that's bigger than a certain size, or if your skin elasticity has broken down somewhat. So like, even if you were really, really small chested, if you were binding for years and years and years, you could be doing like pulling damage and breaking down the collagen in your skin and not be a good candidate for it anymore, because then your chest might like, you might have like a extra loose skin in your chest, which is like really undesirable. I didn't realize until I was trans until after puberty. That's true too. Sometimes we don't know until we're older. Cis kids do get put on blockers. I did mention like how precocious their puberty is. Hormone blockers are totally safe for children. We know this because they were given to cisgender children. They were developed for cisgender children. Well, maybe not developed. They're just hormone blockers. You use them for other things too. But children have been using them for years to control precocious puberty. Like if a child starts their puberty, like starts their period at 8 years old, that's not what you want. You want to delay that a few years. But I mean, really, like, I don't know that there's a biological reason to do that. It's a social reason. We want them to grow up with their peers. It's important, apparently, to make sure that cisgender children don't develop before their peers because it would make them a social outcast. But transgender children are potentially meant to stay on hormone blockers until they turn 18, which is also bad for their bone development. But also their emotional and sexual development alongside their peers is not going to happen. Oh, that's rough, Foxgloved. I hate to hear that. Yeah, if you can save yourself any amount of dysphoria, you really ought to. Yes, keyhole and periareolar are the types of surgery that have the minimal scarring for top surgery. Yeah, Starsona, true. Like, this is like an issue that spans both the circumcision conversation and the intersex children conversation, where, you know, we're so concerned about the idea of like sterilizing trans kids because they could be cisgender. But we will do all kinds of horrible surgeries to children who are babies sometimes. Like, yeah, intersex kids get surgeries without their consent, and the parents are sometimes lied to. I've heard intersex people talk about how, like, their parents were told that they needed urogenital reconstruction in order to, like, not have horrible infections and stuff. Or, like, basically, like, the function would be limited somehow. Like, oh, the urethra is not in the right place or something. Yeah, and fucked up thing too about like laws that we've seen come up about trans people, like trans kids, is that usually if you're looking at a law that says like you're not allowed to give trans kids hormones or hormone blockers because it's child abuse, usually they specifically carve out exceptions for doing unconsensual surgeries on intersex babies. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. I had to get bilateral and not keyhole because I was binding all through high school. Yeah. Yeah, even for cis women wanting to do breast reduction, they usually advise not to go down too much in size because of scars and high risks of infection and sensation loss with removing more tissue. One of my trans masc friends is dealing with this kind of difficulty right now because they have a very large chest and they're not willing to lose their sensation by having a full bilateral. And like their size target, it has to be flexible because of preservation of the nipple stock. So yeah, they're so hung up on blockers and cancer because, quote, people on blockers have a high rate of dying from cancer, end quote, because the blockers are used to treat cancer patients. Facepalm. Yeah, one of my friends is Jewish and has the BRCA2 gene and had breast cancer and now is on estrogen blockers so that they don't develop ovarian cancer. I was intersex and pushed into keyhole incision top surgery by transphobic parents before I knew I was trans, and then I went on E. I had no growth. In college, I got D's, though. That's really good to hear, Sen. Did you, I get it's a little too personal, I guess. I was curious if you, on hormones, ended up having an effect after an amount of time, or if you just had them installed. Either way, obviously not invalid. Trans people get pushed into conversion surgeries than could ever regret choosing the body they want. I'm in the same boat as your friend about the large chest and top surgery, and it's so validating to hear about that. Yeah, I mean, fucking sensation is a big priority to a lot of people. It's a big priority to me, and I mean, like, that's part of why I was on the fence about top surgery for such a long time before I just realized that it's not something that I need. It's not a big deal to me. And even more so that I've been home so much. But yeah, I mean, binding to, like, it squeezes your chest and stuff, too, and it sucks. Okay, we had a little bit of an interlude. I don't even want a flat chest. I just want to be able to run, true. Just like, you're going like this, like, oh no. Estrogen. I am sore. Okay, so we're going to be moving forward and looking at this Texas bill here in a minute and see what it has to say. Or it's not really a Texas bill, is it? I believe it's just a statement. It's just guidance. Let's see. Greg Abbott. Johnny Lex says, I had T anchor reduction and lost sensation in the left. Now I don't want top surgery to keep the surviving one. Fuck gender normativity. True. Cedar says, Abbott's order references opinion KP0401, which makes some wild claims, citing the Society for Evidence-Based Gender Medicine. I'd love to hear someone more educated than me break down KP0401. Okay. I'm not sure what the details, but I'll look at that at some point. I don't want to bind or wear bras anymore, but the bouncing hurts. Yes. So I just want to pull this up, and then I'm going to take a short break. We're going to take a short break to go to the bathroom. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't already. Let's see. Greg Abbott. Opinion from the AG. Letter from the governor. Greg Abbott letter. Okay, let's see if we can get this to load. Yes. The bathroom. Okay, so we have that pulled up. And let's go over to Streamlabs. Does trans tape work for people with larger chests like C? Before I head off to take a short interlude, I will answer this question. C, I would not call a large chest. It sort of depends, though, because all the letter means is it's the difference between the inch measurement between your under bust and your bust, right? So If you're an A cup, then you have 1 inch difference between the measurement across the fullest part of your breast and the underbust. So technically, just knowing your cup size doesn't really tell a person anything about how big your chest is. That's why bras are measured in like the underbust inches, and then the cup size is the difference between the this and the this. Anyway, trans tape is really tricky. Yes, thank you, Athiet, for the Twitter. I'll pull that up so that I have that to look at as well. Okay. Trans tape you have to be very careful with because it is extremely adhesive. I mean, it's tape, but like if you put it on and you really like you push it down and you get it like really firmly in place and everything, you cannot take it off for several days. Or if you like use oil of some kind to like get underneath it and get the adhesive off of you, it can really hurt when you remove it if you're not very careful. And it can, like, you might, like, it can just take your skin off with it. Like, it's not like, like a whole chunk of skin comes off, but like, you might like bleed. You have to be very careful with trans tape. Mostly what trans tape is good for is like if you're going to be wearing like a loose shirt that's open, there's styles that you kind of have to work with very specifically in order to use trans tape. I tried to use trans tape. I mean, I used just regular KT tape, just regular athletic tape. I got it on me and then realized like, oh, I hate the feeling of adhesive on my very sensitive chest skin, and I pulled it off before I like really tamped it down. So that was my only experience with trying to use trans tape. Yeah, I wouldn't personally recommend it really. I think most other methods are better than trans tape, except for, I mean, obviously don't use a fucking ace bandage. Please don't bind yourself with an ace bandage or duct tape or something like that. Please don't do that. You'll break a rib. Yeah, I also wanted to see if it would be more comfortable than binding. Your mileage may vary. Up to you. Are you willing to wear it for 2 or 3 days before you take it off? Are you willing to rub vegetable oil on your chest in order to remove it? Up to you. Up to you. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Greg Abbott and the whole BS of that. So, I wish that there was a kitty. The kitties are just, they're vibing. They're just vibing, doing their own thing, though. So, we'll see. I'll be back in a few. How long has this been happening? 2 minutes? Sorry. I need to actually delete that alarm because I clean the cat box whenever the fuck I want. Okay. We have some water in the stream jar. No, it was not on purpose. Bits of tape work on the sides to prevent uniboob effect. Understandable. However, you're explicitly supposed to use a binder with the tissue like as forward as it can be, like not like pulled to the side, not like pulled up, not pulled down, like exactly where it normally would be but smushed. That's what preserves your skin elasticity. Almond oil might be good for removing trans tape. Okay. Some kind of oil. You have to be willing to put oil all over your sensitive areas. Maybe that could be sexy. I don't know. Taking off your trans tape is a sexy time. Who knows? Okay. So, I guess we are ready to get started. I guess we're not doing Flower Crown this stream. That's okay. That's okay. We'll have to establish other... We'll have to establish some other... People left? We're not even like... We're about to get to the meat of the thing? People left? What the fuck was I talking about? The ADHD is strong today because I didn't eat earlier. I mean, I ate a little bit, but not enough. So, I just keep deleting information as I'm trying to talk. Very convenient. Yes, the Flower Crown. I think that we might have to have other things besides that. Thank you, Star Sona, by the way. Like, as stream goals, you know? I think I'm gonna have to actually, like, play my guitar more and get better at it in order to have that as a stream goal. Like, that's gonna have to be, like, maybe a once a month kind of thing, because I'll have to actually be playing and getting better. Otherwise, it'll be the same, like, 8 songs at the same degree of this is how I can play it, you know? So that's why it's not guitar right now. And I started with Flower Crown just like we started with Flower Crown before, but I set the bar higher since we hit it so soon last time. I was concerned that you all might blow out like at first I was like, oh, I'm a small streamer, let's just set it at $50. Maybe I'll get $50 in donos, and you fucking donoed fucking $300. And then YouTube took $100 of it. Fucking Christ. Okay. So, I'm just about ready to get started on this next bit. Start the next bit? Are we ready? Oh my god, why does that go there? What a weird place for you to go. Whoa. I want this, and I want this, and this. Okay. Nope, this. Okay. Thank you, Skrile, for your announcement. I would like to announce that I am also very gay, so thanks for being here. Hey there, Internet. My name's Luxander, and we're going to take a few minutes here to talk about the letter from Governor Greg Abbott about transgender children in Texas. This has really riled people up a little bit, and I haven't read the letter myself yet, so we're here on stream currently. You, in the future, are seeing this as a recording, but we here in the now time are hanging out on stream, and we're going to look at this together and look at some other information surrounding the situation to kind of try to get an idea of what's about to occur, like what is explicitly about to occur, And is this legal? How long is this going to last? All these are questions that we would like to answer. Welcome in, Christian V. Yeah, is the future better yet? Probably not. Given what I have seen about the track record of it so far, probably not. Well, Tima, you made it past all the MTG and Alex Jones stuff, so there's that. I'm kind of starting to get a little bit of a headache, too. Rip. Okay, let's switch over. So this here letter from Gregory. Is that good? That's good enough. Okay. So this is to the Honorable Jamie Masters, Commissioner of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. So that's why there's some debate as to whether this is strictly legal or illegal because of it being guidance on currently existing law. So at that point, it would be up to the courts to decide, like, this is going to have to affect someone. That person is going to have to sue the state, go through the process, and then the courts are going to have to decide, are we going to listen to Governor Greg Abbott's letter or not? Is that relevant in determining how these laws should affect transgender children, you know? So, dear Commissioner Masters, consistent with our correspondence in August 2021, the Office of the Attorney General has now confirmed in the enclosed opinion that a number of so-called quote sex change procedures constitute child abuse under existing Texas law. Because the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services is responsible for protecting children from abuse, I hereby direct your agency to conduct a prompt and thorough investigation of any reported instances of these abusive procedures in the state of Texas. As OAG opinion blah 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 makes clear, it is already against the law to subject Texas children to a wide variety of elective procedures for gender transitioning, including reassignment surgeries that can cause sterilization, mastectomies, removals of otherwise healthy body parts, and administration of puberty-blocking drugs or supraphysiologic doses of testosterone or estrogen. See the Texas Family Code defining abuse. Texas law imposes reporting requirements upon all licensed professionals who have direct contact with children who may be subject to such abuse, including doctors, nurses, and teachers, and provides criminal penalties for failure to report such child abuse. There are similar reporting requirements and criminal penalties for members of the general public. This is enabling a lot right here. This sentence right here, this is going to enable a lot of abuse. Texas law also imposes a duty on DFPS to investigate the parents of a child who is subjected to these abusive gender transitioning procedures, and on other state agencies to investigate licensed facilities where such procedures may occur. To protect Texas children from abuse, DFPS and all other state agencies must follow the law as explained in OAG opinion number KP0401. What else is in here? There were some other things in here. This is from the Attorney General to Honorable Matt Krause, Chair of the House Committee on General Investigating. What does KP0401 actually say? Well, I suppose that's where we have to head next, isn't it? Much like the dictionary, using a word in a definition that you don't understand, you must then flip to the section of the dictionary that explains what the other word means, and hope that you don't end up in a horrible feedback loop where you're flipping back and forth to the same 2 pages. So, I don't know, let's see if just... Whoa, is this going to provide us with results? Ken Paxton, TexasAttorneyGeneral.gov. Oh yeah, I think that what we were looking at on the other page was this, but we will just look at this. I think I found it, Cedar. Let's see. Am I looking at the right thing? that might have been what this was. Ah, yeah, this is opinion number KP. But we will do it over here just to make, because that's what the file is actually called. You can see up here that it's actually called that. So we know for sure it's the right thing. Boink, 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 boink. That'll do. Replying to whether certain medical procedures performed on children constitute child abuse, from Ken Paxton, Attorney General, to the Honorable Matt Krause, Chair of House Committee on General Investigating of the Texas House of Representatives. You ask whether the performance of certain medical and chemical procedures on children, several of which have the effect of sterilization, constitute child abuse. You specifically ask about procedures falling under the broader category of, quote, gender reassignment surgeries. Request letter at 1. You state that such procedures typically are performed to, quote, transition individuals with gender dysphoria to their desired gender, and you identify the following, quote, sex change procedures. See in Erotic Anarchy. 1. Sterilization through castration, vasectomy, hysterectomy, oophorectomy, metoidioplasty. Metoidioplasty does not sterilize you. Orchiectomy, penectomy, phalloplasty doesn't necessarily sterilize you, and vaginoplasty, which also doesn't necessarily sterilize you. Mastectomies, which is in a separate category from the sterilization procedures, and removing from children otherwise healthy or non-diseased body part or tissue. Additionally, you ask whether, quote, providing, administering, prescribing, or dispensing drugs to children that induce transient or permanent infertility constitutes child abuse. You include the following categories of drugs. 1. Puberty suppression or puberty blocking drugs, and 2. Supraphysiologic doses of testosterone to females and supraphysiologic doses of estrogen to males. You qualify your question with the following statement. Quote, some children have a medically verifiable genetic disorder of sex development or do not have the normal sex chromosome structure for male or female as determined by a physician through genetic testing that require procedures similar to those described in this request. In other words, in rare circumstances, some of the procedures you list are born out of medical necessity. For example, a minor male with testicular cancer may need an orchiectomy. This opinion does not address or apply to medically necessary procedures. Okay. How do we all feel so far? Do we feel like we're digesting this well? I don't know if I should be pausing more often than I am to explain what's being said, because I more or less understand what's being said. Yeah, great. What's medically necessary mean? Yep. Executive summary. Based on the analysis herein, each of the, quote, sex change procedures and treatments enumerated above when performed on children can legally constitute child abuse under several provisions of Chapter 261 of the Texas Family Code. These procedures and treatments can cause, quote, mental or emotional injury to a child that results in an observable and material impairment in the child's growth, development, or psychological functioning. I mean, I guess they could, but denying them could also cause those things. These procedures and treatments can, quote, cause or permit the child to be in a situation in which the child sustains a mental or emotional injury that results in an observable and a material impairment in the child's growth, development, or psychological functioning. Being denied the needed health care can also cause those things. Yeah, it says be cis or else. It's true. Yes, this is the Attorney General's interpretation of the current law. These procedures and treatments can cause a, quote, physical injury that results in substantial harm to the child. What the fuck does that mean? These procedures and treatments often involve a, quote, failure to make a reasonable effort to prevent an action by another person that results in physical injury that results in substantial harm to the child, particularly by parents, counselors, and physicians. So, that is what implicates all related parties and not just, I mean, so the parents are responsible, the doctor is responsible, potentially like other like teachers could potentially, if they don't stop it or don't report it, be held liable. Who knows? In addition to analysis under the family code, we discuss below the fundamental right to procreation, issues of physical and emotional harm associated with these procedures and treatments, consent laws in Texas and throughout the country, and existing child abuse standards. Each of the procedures and treatments you ask about can constitute child abuse when performed on minor children. Yeah, that's a... Nature and context of the question presented. Forming the basis for your request, you contend that the sex change procedures and treatments you ask about are typically performed to transition individuals with gender dysphoria to their desired gender. Yeah, that's a weird way to use that. Are typically performed to transition individuals with gender... It's so weird. The novel trend of providing these elective sex changes to minors often has the effect of permanently sterilizing these minor children. While you refer to these procedures as, quote, sex changes, it is important to note that it remains medically impossible to truly change the sex of an individual because this is determined biologically at conception. No doctor can replace a fully functioning male sex organ with a fully functioning female sex organ or vice versa. In reality, these, quote, sex change procedures seek to destroy a fully functioning sex organ in order to cosmetically create the illusion of a sex change. Not all of these procedures have anything to do with sex babies' organs. Yeah, I'm not sure if this can cause harm because detransitioners exist, or it's trans people aren't real, so it's always harm. Probably the latter. Beyond the obvious harm of permanently sterilizing a child, I don't really see how it's harmful necessarily. I mean, like, if it happened by accident, I don't know. I wouldn't say you should, like, go and sterilize children, but, like, I just don't think that everybody needs to procreate, you know? And, like, that trans kids, like, you can preserve their fertility, you know? It's possible. Beyond the obvious harm of permanently sterilizing a child, these procedures and treatments can cause side effects and harms beyond permanent infertility, including serious mental health effects, venous thrombosis / thromboembolism, increased risk of cardiovascular disease, weight gain, decreased libido, hypertriglyceridemia, elevated blood pressure, decreased glucose tolerance, gallbladder disease, benign pituitary prolactinoma, lowered and elevated triglycerides, increased homocysteine levels, hepatotoxicity, polycythemia, sleep apnea, insulin resistance, chronic pelvic pain, and increased cancer and stroke risk. Wow. Some of the times when they're talking about the side effects of hormones, they are saying, like, oh, it increases your risks of, like, cardiovascular disease and stuff. I just want to point out that a lot of the time that's referring to, like if you have a testosterone system and then you take estrogen, your heart disease risk then will match cisgender women. So if there's a change, whether up or down, like if you were to, I don't actually know what the demographics are. If you were to move from one to another that had a slight increase, then you could technically say it causes an increase in cardiovascular disease. But what actually is occurring is that you just have the same cardiovascular disease risk as cisgender women. It's pretty much how it works. That's why I say, like, hormones are so pervasive and they affect so many things. Anyway, while the spike in these procedures is a relatively recent development, sterilization of minors and other vulnerable populations without clear consent is not a new phenomenon and has an unsettling history. Says the person who works for the U.S. government. Historically weaponized against minorities, sterilization procedures have harmed many vulnerable populations, such as African Americans, female minors, the disabled, and others. These violations have been found to infringe upon the fundamental human right to procreate. Any discussion of sterilization procedures in the context of minor children must accordingly consider the fundamental right that is at stake, the right to procreate. Given the uniquely vulnerable nature of children and the clear dangers of sterilization demonstrated throughout history, it is important to emphasize the crux of the question you present today. Whether facilitating or conducting medical procedures and treatments that could permanently deprive minor children of their constitutional right to procreate or impair their ability to procreate before those children have the legal capacity to consent to those procedures and treatments constitutes child abuse. Why do people think that children are fucking stupid? Listen. There is no time in your life that you want to make a baby more than when you're a teenager. Right? There is no time in your life that you want to have a baby more than when you're a teenager. Like you just want to fuck all the time. Like, if a teenager are, like, if they are aware, like, that is the most horny age that you can be. They're aware that transitioning could cause them to be unable to procreate. Like, kids are short, not stupid. True. Yeah. Like, I came out when I was like 15 or something, and I would have probably gone on hormones way sooner. I don't know how that would have affected whether I stayed on hormones or not. I'm apparently a person who's, like, periodically on and off them. I don't know. That's how it's been going so far. Yeah, like, having kids is not everyone's priority. Like, what if gay people and trans people exist as a natural, like, population control, you know? Like, I'm not saying that's the case, because I don't really think that there could be any, like, specified reason for complex social behavior like that. Like, you couldn't point to one thing evolutionarily and say it's because this, because it's such an interrelated thing. Sexuality is a social thing. Anyway, I feel like I got off on a long tangent there. Not everybody wants to procreate. Jesus fucking Christ. Plenty of people have kids, and a lot of them survive now, so it's fine. The medical evidence does not demonstrate that children and adolescents benefit from engaging in these irreversible sterilization procedures. Not true. Not true. Not true. That's just not true. The prevalence of gender dysphoria in children and adolescents has never been estimated, and there is no scientific consensus that these sterilizing procedures and treatments even serve to benefit minor children in dealing with gender dysphoria. Also not true. And you can still have kids by other means. Yeah, you can literally, like, have your gametes extracted if you want to. And you can adopt, you know. You could be a foster parent. Those things are still valuable. As stated by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, quote, there is not enough high-quality evidence to determine whether gender reassignment surgery improves health outcomes for Medicare beneficiaries with gender dysphoria, and whether patients most likely to benefit from these types of surgical intervention can be identified prospectively. Also, quote, several studies show a higher rate of regret at being sterilized among younger women than among those who were sterilized at a later age. Okay, well, that's women who are being sterilized for birth control reasons. That's not the same as, like, trans people being inadvertently, having their fertility inadvertently affected, because let's all remember, sterility is not guaranteed. Most people who have, like, a uterus, like, continue to be able to use it after many, many, many years on testosterone. It's, like, you know, mostly anecdotal, frankly, because as far as I know, there aren't very many, like, studies on it, but I know, like, I have been in the presence online of many people who have, like, been on T for a number of years and quit and got pregnant. So It's not like at all outside the realm of possibility. Ooh, let's do a little stretch real quick. Let's stretch out our necks because I'm starting to get a little bit stiff and it hurts a little bit. So that's not ideal. Let's stretch it out a little bit. And if you haven't been drinking water, remember to drink some water. And if you need to snack, you can snack during stream. I'm going to wait until after and do my dinner cooking at that time. Yeah, gay men have been having kids since the beginning of peoplekind. Yeah, so younger women having more regret, than older women is kind of neither here nor there. TBH. There we go. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that. We were way down here. There is no evidence that long-term mental health outcomes are improved or that rates of suicide are reduced by hormonal or surgical intervention. What the fuck are you talking about? Childhood onset gender dysphoria has been shown to have a high rate of natural resolution, with 61 to 98% of children re-identifying with their biological sex during puberty. Okay. Blockers give you time to think about it. You know? And that's why you have stringent, like... I mean, I'm not saying necessarily that I even agree with the stringent requirements. I'm just saying that the requirements are stringent already. That's why the detransition rate is so low, because we gatekeep this quite a lot. If people even gave a shit about trans surgery, surgery wouldn't even mean sterility. True. And I mean, like, I know of preserving methods for both, like, if you start out with one, like it doesn't matter. Like, there are methods of preserving your just ability to have a baby. Not even removing your bits to store them in a freezer or anything like that. Like, even if you get bottom surgery, you can still retain the organs that you can use for that purpose, you know? Oh my gosh. I'm just getting all kinds of sore. It's been a long day, y'all. It's been a long day. Oh, the lies of still citing the studies that have been demonstrated to have terrible methodology, but ignoring those follow-ups. True. No studies to date have evaluated the natural course and rate of gender dysphoria dissolution. I mean, like, I just can't continue to read those lies, okay? I cannot continue to read those lies out loud. Do we get the point of this? Do we feel like we get the point of this? Let's move on. So back over here, this was referencing that, you know, that the opinion of the Attorney General makes clear it is already against the law to subject Texas children to this stuff. So I want you to start enforcing the law as that interpretation, is what it's saying. Well, I'm glad that they let you, Dory, and that they weren't like, 2 kids is not enough. 2 kids is not enough. 2 kids is not enough. Yeah, so we also were going to look at the ACLU, because they tweeted, Attorney General Paxton's opinion and Governor Abbott's letter have no legal effect, can't change Texas law, and can't override the constitutional rights of Texas families. No court anywhere in the country has ever found that gender-affirming care can be considered child abuse. Oh, hold on, there's more to the thread. Although these materials are not legally binding, they spread fear and misinformation and could spur false reporting of child abuse at a time when trans youth continue to be threatened by state leadership as part of a politically motivated misinformation campaign. Texas isn't alone. Dozens of states have proposed banning medical care for trans youth, including criminalizing access to this care. There is a nationwide crisis of politicians using their power to attack trans kids, and we will use the full firepower of the ACLU to fight back. Can someone clip 2 kids is not enough? Do it. You can clip now, can't you? Okay. So, something that I do want to say is that while it may be true that the interpretation of the law is not legally binding, what is going to happen first, like what has to happen, what necessarily has to happen, this is one of the things that I don't know how to reconcile, but that I have a big problem with, about our justice system, about our penal system, is that kids are going to get taken away from parents who are providing them with care. Like the police are going to enforce the law as interpreted. Certain police will, at the very minimum. There will be police who agree with this. So they will... Police already make laws up on the spot, you know? They don't really need much to work with. People will get arrested and go to jail, and their children will be put in questionable foster care. Let's hope they don't get abused, because abuse happens in foster care anyway, but increasingly, on top of that, the child being transgender increases their possible risk for abuse in that situation. So, families are going to be torn apart first. That's what's going to happen first. And then they can sue. And it'll have to work its way up a little bit, because this is being claimed to be about their constitutional right to procreate. In all likelihood, this will end up going through a couple of appeals. In the meantime, children separated from their parents, you know, yeah, the harm will come first. We can hope that some kind of intervention can occur. We can hope that the first judge that comes across this puts a stay of some kind. I don't know if they can do that, because it's not a new law. It's just a reinterpretation of an older law. So this is the part that's really sour, you know? This is the part that really sucks. Is that it doesn't matter whether it's strictly legal or not for them to do this. It's still going to hurt a lot of people. And I don't really know of anything that I can say that will make that better. Between this and my ethics class, I now hate the word procreate. True. So, yeah, not every trans kid can get out of Texas. It doesn't help future trans kids who come out. Other places also in the South are making these kind of changes, you know. It's not tenable to just tell people to move and move and move and move and move, you know? I saw one person on Twitter saying, like, I used to live in Texas and I moved out, and the state that I currently live in is trying to make it illegal for adults to access transgender healthcare. So it's not like that's surefire thing, you know? If you bop around, you move from place to place to place, like, you're running out of places to live in your country, in the country that you were born. And see, this is kind of what, like, this is like a good, I think, observation to make, like a good moment to have. Like, you know how your boss doesn't care about you at all? You know how if you died, they would just, like, hire someone else and it wouldn't really matter to them? Countries, states don't care about you. You are a number in the GDP You're a number on the census. States don't care about you. So we don't need to be like loyal or faithful to the state. What we need to do is frankly have way more of like a collective backbone about pushing back against these things, you know? Like, what are we as a community going to do when the police come knocking on our neighbor's door because they have a little trans son? You know? What are we as a community going to do about this? Are we going to let families get torn apart? You know? I don't live in Texas. This is not a question that I have to answer yet. The state is not there to protect you. It's like a weird non-human entity. I think that being a member of the state in that way, like if you are a politician, you know, especially if you've been there for a long enough time, I think that it really teaches you to alienate your humanity a bit. And it teaches you to alienate the humanity of your subjects. Like, I guess you can't care individually about all of their problems because it would result in, like, overload of some kind, but a lot of people come here to escape come here to escape transphobia, and now they will be less safe here. Utah trying to pass another BS bill about kids in sports. Can trans people adopt and rescue these kids if we live in a world where you can't be trans? Yeah. Allies need to step up. The trans community has been begging for support, and the lack of it means we will continue to get steamrolled. We can do a lot on our own, but not everything. That is the frustrating thing, is like, I don't know how many cis people I see talking about these things. Like, I feel like I post periodically on Facebook, like, hey, what are we doing? Like, is anybody talking about this? But in the same, you know, like, I also am not seeing anything on my Facebook today about Ukraine. I mean, a little bit, but not very much. So it could be just like a place that's intentionally suppressing certain kinds of political speech. Who knows? America is an oligarchy. So yeah, like, a lot of shit's happening too, so it's hard to get people on board. Like, if World War III is about to start, Bothered Boy spoke about it. I haven't heard of him. Yeah, so I guess I don't really have anything uplifting to say about it, because it's just super shit. I don't really want to rely on others for this help, though. It would be nice, but can't rely on it. Maybe intentional community is the solution. Yeah, I think intentional community is going to end up being the solution to a lot of problems. I do think that we need broader coalitions in order to have support, you know? Yeah, no problem, Jake. I guess I just find it really sad. Like, I'm just really bummed out now because, like, I really care about trans kids, you guys. Like, I came out when I was, like, 15, which is really early, and I still feel like it wasn't early enough. And I have never been one of those people who's like, oh, we should, like, oh, if I had it hard, then you have to have it hard, you know? I don't think that that is necessary. And in fact, I think that you should want things to be easier for the next group of people. And you know, at least when I was in high school and I knew that I was trans, there wasn't like a bunch of people like actively politically talking about how I specifically didn't deserve the health care that I wanted, you know? There was a lack of information, and I mean, that was the main thing. There was a lack of information, so that's why my transition was kind of delayed. I mean, I was able to start transitioning for like 3 years before I actually did, right? I could have started at 18, or maybe even before then, and I started at 21, or whatever it was. Like, at least when I was coming up, it wasn't like this, you know? I find that it really hurts me to think about how much harder it is, how unfair it is that we have so much more visibility now, like, which would have helped me find out sooner, like, you know, exposure to the concept of being trans at a younger age in a kind light would have been good. So, you know, kids are hearing that sooner, but they're also hearing a lot more negative messaging around it. Like, at least I didn't have that. And it really sucks that things are getting worse for them. Like, I don't think they deserve that. I think they deserve to have a lot more positivity in their lives. Like, people talk about letting kids be kids, you know? How many of us feel like we were robbed of an authentic childhood? Like, that we were delayed in getting to enjoy who we were as kids, you know? Gay people talk about this too. Like, it's not just a trans thing. You know, being deprived of the opportunity to, like, flirt with people. It's really unfair. And I wish that there was more that I could do. Yeah. We should be collectively striving toward a world where this kind of pain doesn't happen. Unfortunately, it's a very niche thing. All we can really do is, like, continue to educate and, like, fight back where we can. You know? Time for kids to not be assigned a gender based on sex. It drives me crazy seeing people who are, like, pregnant being like, oh, it's gonna be a boy. I'm like, why are you imposing all these things on it already? Hey, babe. Come here. You wanna come say hello? We have a visitor here to lighten the mood. Oh my god, that hurt. Why would you do that? Come on, come here. Just jump. Come on, you can do it. Why are you just really fat? Like, is that the issue? You're not sure if you can get all the way up here? Come here. Oh, we have Mitternacht. Yeah? Do you feel like you're too much of a chung to make it up? You would have made it up if your claw got stuck. Come here. Oh. He really doesn't like this, so it's not going to last very long. Well, but he's very cute. Oh, hello. Why would you do that? Said the frog to the scorpion. Oh, yes, he's getting impatient with it. Okay, let me put it down. Thank you for bringing a moment of levity, Mitternacht. Dear sweet Mitternacht boy. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Yeah, he's quite large. Mm. So, I think it's important to get to know your neighbors and try to build more local coalitions with people, because who knows when the next super transphobic law is going to come to your town. And, you know, you can try to vote and contact your people, but I think more and more we need to be, like, disruptive. We got to show up places with signs and loud noises. And, you know, I don't have very many more specific ideas than that because I'm getting a major headache. So, share resources, reach out to parents of trans kids. The fight goes on. Yes. If you know anyone who lives in Texas who might be affected by this, be sure to reach out to them, you know, offer them whatever you're able to offer them, you know, place to stay, or I don't know. You're going to know the situation better than I will. Yeah, it seems like everybody's trying to make it illegal. It's very annoying. But yeah, I'm going to take care of this headache a little bit and probably cook some dinner here in a few minutes. So I really appreciate you all hanging out. Very kind of you. You know, double check your notification settings for next time. I'm not sure when the next stream is going to be. At the very minimum, I'll have one on Sunday, I think. But otherwise, I'm still not quite sure how things are going to go. So, I appreciate you. And I will see you next time. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for your donos. Thank you for making this something that actually feels like fun to do. And we'll see you next time.